He's back with his new podcast series. Kris Hagen is not dead yet.
Welcome to another episode of Not Dead Yet. Now today I want to talk about dating apps, the romance, the red flags, and why you shouldn't invite a stranger into your flat. Now let me start by saying something probably extremely controversial, but I don't care. Dating apps didn't used to be this bad. I know, shocking innit? Really shocking. Really? But genuinely, I have friends, real people, not mythical creatures, who met on Tinder years ago and then they got married. Yeah, they're married. They have kids. They have joint IKEA furniture. And it worked. Back then, Tinder was, oh, you like them, they like you, let's see. Now all the mosques have started singing behind me, but hopefully you can still hear me. So these days it's, are you single? Are you real? Are you mentally stable? And are you planning to steal my laptop, murder me, chop me up into a bag and leave me in the wardrobe? So somewhere along the line, dating apps stopped being about dating, which was the whole point. They became catalogues. Swipe this, swipe here, swipe there, swipe up, swipe down, wherever you need to swipe, I don't remember. I never used one, to be honest. My friend Georgia, yes, she used Tinder as well. Do I like this person? This question now, people don't even think about it anymore. Do I like this person? They're just basically looking at the aesthetics. Nowadays, people are just thinking, could I do better in the next 3 swipes? But romance didn't die, I don't think. I think it was just buried on dopamine. And once apps became primarily about quick validation and casual sex, something else crept in. Now, here's the bit nobody wants to talk about. There's always one in all my podcasts. There's always something people don't want to talk about, and people are going to throw their dummies out of the pram because Kris said that. Oh my God. Now remember, criminals are not stupid. They're not. They go where people are lonely, people are trusting, people overshare, people invite strangers into their lives too quickly. I mean, look at Roy on Coronation Street now. This isn't really a spoiler because you've all seen it. Roy has been chatting with a woman called Alice in the prison. Oh no, she's the mother of a person in the prison, or she's in the prison, I don't remember. Either way, it's not true. We saw the silhouette of a guy sending his message to Roy. So you have to be very, very careful. Now, dating apps tick every one of these boxes. The lonely people, trusting people, oversharing people, and people inviting strangers into their homes or into their cars in a car park in front of Tesco. Who knows? So yes, there are scammers, thieves, con artists, and genuinely dangerous people out there absolutely using them. I mean, not everyone, obviously, but enough that pretending otherwise is naive. Now, let's be clear, this isn't paranoia, it's pattern recognition. People have actually been, as you can imagine, emotionally manipulated, financially scammed, robbed after inviting somebody home, followed, precious, they're very, very precious, pressured and coerced. And often the red flags were there, they just got ignored because they were charming. They were so bello, they were very attractive, figo, they made me feel special. Criminals don't look like villains, surprise, surprise, they look convincing. Now, oversharing is really the biggest mistake you can ever do. Here's where the dating apps become dangerous without people realizing. People tell strangers where they live, where they work, when they're alone, their routines, their vulnerabilities, when they're going on holiday, which means when the house is empty. Are these people stupid? All before meeting people. That's not openness, that's poor risk assessment. You're not being real, you're giving a stranger a blueprint. But they seem so normal, is what people say. Yeah, of course they do. No one opens with, hi, I'm emotionally unstable and might ruin your month. Charm is not a character, consistency is. Someone who rushes intimacy, pushes boundaries, avoids public meetings, pressures you to meet late at night, wants to come to your place immediately, is not being romantic. They're testing how much you'll tolerate. Now, this is where the nostalgia kicks in. When Tinder first launched, it was awkward but hopeful. People actually chatted, they asked questions, they met for coffee. There was actually a part of Tinder where you could meet your other friends. You could see when your other friends were nearby. So if you were both in the same shopping centre, you could meet up for lunch. It wasn't only about bonking. Now, some of my friends met then, and it worked because expectations were clearer, fewer bots, fewer scammers, and less porn brain culture, which we spoke about in the past. Now, it's half dating app, half audition, half psychological experiment. Yeah, that's 3 halves. And that's how broken it is. So, psychologically, apps create a false sense of safety. You think, hey, they're on an app, they must be vetted. They're not. You think they've got photos, they must be real. Photos mean nothing. Have you seen how many AI photos are out there now on social media? Everybody's all perfect skin, smooth, and look like they're on a beautiful holiday in the Bahamas, when actually they're sitting behind a dirty kitchen somewhere in Cheetham Hill. No offence to Cheetham Hill, I'm sure it's a nice place now, but in the past it used to be a bit dodgy. Yeah, so photos mean nothing. Nothing. You think everyone does this, it must be fine. Everyone doing something doesn't make it wise, and everybody doing something doesn't make it, well, it makes it normal maybe, but it doesn't make it correct. So apps compress intimacy because you go from strangers to flirting to meeting alone far too fast, far too quickly. In real life, trust builds slowly. On apps, it's fast-tracked, and that's where people get hurt. Your instincts need time to work. So let's be clear, this is not me saying dating apps are evil. Everyone on them is dangerous. Never date online. It's simply this: be careful. Meet in public. Tell someone where you're going. And don't invite strangers into your home immediately. And don't ignore the red flags because you're bored or lonely. Loneliness makes people reckless. And we ignore the risks. Why? Because we're told don't be negative, think positive. Don't be dramatic. Don't judge. But discernment isn't judgment, it's survival. Being cautious doesn't mean you're damaged, it means you value yourself. So dating apps can work. I mean, they've worked before and they still can, I guess. But the culture has changed, and pretending it hasn't is how people get hurt. Not everyone is bad, but not everyone is good either. Surprise, surprise. So slow down, protect your space, trust actions, not charm. And remember, romance should add to your life, not put you at risk. Because the right person won't rush you, and the wrong one will always try to.